It's time for Northwestern Outdoors Radio, the award-winning show that covers fishing, hunting, and all sorts of outdoor recreation here in the Great Northwest. Northwestern Outdoors is brought to you every week by Max Lure Company, a legacy of innovation since 1969, by Loophole Optics, America's optical authority, by Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors, by Wallowa County, nature is on display in Northeast Oregon, and by The Real News, your fishing resource. Also by Shiloh Inns and Suites, providing you with affordable excellence, and by Mardon Resort, the place for fishing, hunting, and more in Eastern Washington. And now, it's time to head outside with your host, John Cruz.
Thanks for joining us this weekend. We've got a great show for you, recorded again from the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland. There were so many vendors there and so much audio to take in that it's going to take us a couple weeks to get through this, but don't worry, it's really good stuff. In fact, we're doing something exotic this week. We're going on a wild boar hunt in Northern California, something we've never talked about. Really excited about that. And then we're heading towards Fort Peck Reservoir in Montana. It is a place that has a reputation as a great walleye fishery, and Johnny Candle, one of the best walleye tournament anglers out there, is going to break down that fishery for you on an extended Max Minute. Speaking of Max Lure Pro Guides, Bruce Warren is coming back on the show. He's going to tell you about catching spring Chinook using Max Lures, G. Loomis rods, and Iser line, and give you some hints and tricks that'll get some fish in the boat for you. Once you get that big spring Chinook in the boat, you might want to take it to a taxidermist. Well, we've got one for you. It's Rick Leach out of Northwest Oregon. Very well-known taxidermist there. He'll have tips on exactly what to do if you want that trophy mounted. While we were at the Sportsman Show in Portland, we ran across a very clever survival item you're going to want to know about. And we also ran across some of the tastiest freeze-dried food I've ever had in my life. It's from Mountain House Foods. It's actually made in Albany, Oregon. It's delicious. We're going to tell you all about it. Finally, we're going to talk to Joe Brennan again about the Central Oregon show that's coming up later this week in Redmond, Oregon. As you can tell, we've got another jam-packed show full of great guests coming your way. But before we get any further, David Sparks is here with another edition of Sportsman Spotlight. And this week, he's talking about women fly anglers.
Trying to get as many women involved in the sport inland Northwest as I can.
Talk about your success rate. Have you gotten a lot of people involved?
Our last fly tying class, I limited it to 10 women just to give everybody enough time and special attention as they need, and it was actually full, and we have people on the waiting list.
Heather says that the group has now grown to 40 active women.
What do they give as their primary reason for joining your group?
Somebody like their dad or their husband or significant other has brought them into the sport, whether it's gear fishing or fly fishing. They've been shown that, and I think that they really do have an interest. And I think that the feeling of being not intimidated and hanging out with a bunch of other women, I mean, we're all very social. The social aspect of it is huge.
Heather added that there's also a safety aspect, meaning a woman out on a river by herself may not be the greatest of ideas. If you'd like to get involved, it couldn't be easier. WomenOnTheFly.com.
This is David Sparks for Sportsman Spotlight.
Bear Crop Science is excited to bring you Evergoal Energy, a new innovative seed treatment solution for all your cereal crops. Seed treated with Evergoal Energy provides protection for a wide range of diseases so plants emerge quicker, grow faster, and result in higher yield potential. It's no wonder that Evergoal Energy outperforms the competition. To learn more about Evergoal Energy or Bear Crop Science, go to bearcropscience.us. For higher yields, treat with Evergoal Energy. Always read and follow label instructions.
Farmer Karen Schott explains why she buys crop insurance through Northwest Farm Credit Services.
You know, an agent takes the time to sit down with you and educate you to what is available in your area, what isn't available. That is a very complex program, and when you look to Northwest Farm Credit, they have the people that are knowledgeable.
If you've ever been fishing in Mexico, you know how good it can be, and now you can fish there with The Real News. Take your choice of a trip to Baja's East Cape for roosterfish, marlin, and dorado. These trips are value priced, so you can stretch your dollars in fun. To find out more about fishing Mexico with The Real News, log on to therealnews.com or call 425-334-8966. Again, that's therealnews.com or 425-334-8966. For an incredible adventure.
Ah, the great outdoors. I'm ready for a great weekend of camping at this remote campground. But first, I think I'll invite my camp neighbors over for a meal of fire-roasted hot dogs and baked beans. Dum-de-dum, dum-de-dum. Hi, neighbors. I just came over to...
Pizza!
Hey, is that pizza you're eating? How did you get pizza out in the middle of nowhere?
Pizza!
Thanks. Oh, this is delicious. A pizza oven operated on a propane canister and another on the top of your camp stove? And they're both made by Camp Chef? I knew Camp Chef made great stuff for outdoors cooking, but this? I've got to get one of these pizza ovens from Camp Chef. No more beans and weenies for this guy. From now on, it's artisan pizza for me when I'm camping.
Pizza!
The Camp Chef Pizza Oven. Bake your own artisan masterpiece on your back patio or at the campground. Find out more at your local sporting goods dealer or at campchef.com.
That's the sound you hear when a fish hits the new Sonic bait fish from Max Lure Company. This metal lure can be cast, trolled, or jigged and will catch just about anything that swims in the sea, the river, or the lake. The Sonic bait fish has a unique vibration and flutter that can be rigged in 7 different ways. With all sorts of eye-catching colors and weights available, you'll be reaching for the Sonic bait fish as your go-to lure. It's the Sonic bait fish. And that's another fish on. Only from Max Lure Company.
Sonic booms not included with the Sonic Baitfish Strike unless you are fishing for jet fighters.
Welcome back to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We've talked a lot about hunting over the years on this show, but we've never talked about hunting wild Russian boar, probably because there's really not too many places you can do it here in the Pacific Northwest. Well, guess what? We're here at the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, and we've run across an outfitter that's offering this hunt in Northern California. A short drive for a lot of you listening today. With us here to tell us more is Jim McDonald with Rawhide West Outfitters. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Jim, let's go ahead and talk about, first off, where are you located and what does Rawhide West Outfitters offer?
Well, we're located about 20 minutes east of Redding, California, which is about 130 miles from the border, maybe 150 miles from the border of California, Oregon. We offer an all-inclusive 2-day Russian boar hunt. We offer lodging, meals. We have transportation on the ranch, a guide. Our lodging includes a little small bunkhouse with beds in it. We have a cook that cooks our meals for us. We have showers, a wood stove for the cool times, and a cooler for the hot times. And as far as your hunting, it's all spot and stock. And we take you out. Once you've harvested your hog, we do a little photo session, and then we'll take it over and clean it, and then it goes into a nice cool locker for the remainder of the stay at the ranch.
Well, that's a great overview. Let's go ahead and break it down a little bit more. And I guess we need to start by talking about these animals. Now, one thing I want to clarify right off the bat. This is a 5,000-acre ranch in Shasta County. Is this a high fence hunt? Are these animals that are basically just turned loose, or are these actually wild Russian boar, wild animals?
These are 100% wild Russian boars. It's a working cattle ranch, and anybody that knows cattle ranches knows the fences suck, and the pigs will go right underneath it. So that's what we have.
Okay, and I'm assuming, since you offer this operation, that they're pretty plentiful, that success rates are pretty good?
Yeah, we can regularly see upwards of 100 pigs a day.
I know you can't guarantee success, but what has the success rate been for hunters coming to the ranch by and large?
Well, actually, we are running at a 100% success rate. What we offer is a 100% guarantee at a chance of a kill.
Well, that's more than fair. So tell me more about these wild Russian boar. What's the average size? How big, can they get?
Well, the average size that we harvest is about 150 pounds, but they do get upwards of 300 on occasion.
Tell me how a hunt for these animals work. Okay, I'm going to get up in the morning with you. The rifle's ready to go. We've got it zeroed. What does the hunt look like for these animals?
So basically we hunt from an ATV, and we'll kind of cruise around the ranch, and we stop at various places, ridge tops, things like that, and we glass drainages, meadows, hillsides, and so on and so forth. Then once we've spotted hogs, then we do a on-foot stalk for them and get nice and close, usually about 60 yards.
Oh, geez. Now, I understand that the pigs generally don't have very good eyesight, but I've also heard they're not that easy to hunt.
Yeah, I think the eyesight is a little bit of a misconception, because I think what it is they're an animal that uses their nose to survive more than their eyes, so they rely less on their eyes than they do their nose. And so they're very wary. If the wind is wrong, you're not going to get a hog.
Very interesting to know. So are these guided hunts then?
Yes. Yep. It's I'm the personal guide there, and I have 2 guys that are coming up the ranks to become helpers. But right now, I'm your guide.
All right. So you're going to get within 60 yards. You're going to pull the trigger. I guess we need to talk about what sort of rifle should people be bringing and what sort of ammo.
I like a 270 and up. Your 30-06, 7 mags, 300 Win mags, those are all excellent rounds. They're very hardy animals. They have a very, very tough armor plating in their shoulders, and so the smaller calibers doesn't really do the animal any justice.
All right, that's really good to know. And again, for our listeners, how big do these hogs get?
Commonly 150 pounds, but they can get up to 300 pounds.
So let's talk about something else, and that's the eating of these hogs. I'm guessing that a bigger hog is not necessarily a good eating hog?
Not necessarily true. They're tougher animals, but this particular ranch we're on has an abundance of water and feed year-round, which makes them excellent table fare. They're not having to go out and search for dead animals to eat. They can eat nice nuts and grass and things like that.
Nice. Grain-fed, almost. Almost. Folks, you're listening to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. I'm talking to Jim McDonald. He's the owner of Rawhide West Outfitters, offering fully guided 2-day wild Russian boar hunts in Northern California. So let's talk about the facilities a little bit. You mentioned there's a bunkhouse. You mentioned that there's meals. Let me guess. Ham for dinner and bacon for breakfast?
Yeah, that would be nice, but unfortunately we're stuck with nasty old tri-tip or prime rib, and sometimes chicken, pork chops, things like that. Just good old home-cooked meals.
So you've got the meals, 3 a day, and the accommodation is a bunkhouse. How many does that sleep?
Well, the bunkhouse sleeps up to 4 hunters inside of that, but I also have other accommodations if we book a larger group. I have myself and the cook have another place to sleep in a travel trailer.
We usually don't talk cost on the show, but I got to tell you, folks, this seems like a pretty affordable adventure to get all your meals and lodging. Is it 2 nights lodging?
It's 2 full nights. Yeah, 2 nights lodging, yes.
And guided hunting. And I'm just going to have you say the cost because they aren't going to believe me.
Right now, we're still at only $975 per person.
That is a great deal. Folks, you're not going to find a guided 2-day hunt for cheaper than that, especially for something as exotic as Russian boars. I mean, that's really a cool thing. Boars, I know, are a big problem in a lot of parts of the country. Is it the same way in California, or do they cause a lot of habitat damage?
In parts of California, yes, for sure. These, and that's usually your feral hogs, but these are on a working cattle ranch, so they're not as destructive there, mostly because of the terrain. It's mostly lava rock and grassy hillsides.
So I guess you're going to have to explain something to me then. The difference between a feral pig, which I know people hunt, especially down south, and a wild Russian boar.
A feral hog is basically a domestic strain that has gone wild. And it may have been wild its entire life through genetics and so on, but it starts off as a domesticated hog. Well, these Russian hogs were imported into the United States, and at some point, somebody along the way had turned them loose, or they got loose.
So these are basically the same stock as like a European boar hog that you would say?
Yes, sir, exactly.
And which I've been up close to a few times, and they're kind of scary up close, I got to tell you.
Yeah, they can get a little ornery, but that's my job to make everybody safe.
Nice to hear. So, folks, again, if you want a really unique hunt that's really not far away at all from the Northwest, this might be for you. Again, wild Russian boars, 2 days of guided hunting on a 5,000-acre ranch in Northern California. The cost, again, only $975 per person, 2 meals a day. Lodging at the bunkhouse, transportation on the ranch, skinning and cleaning of the pigs, plus storage and photo sessions too. Can't ask for much more. Is there anything people need to bring with them?
Yeah, they need to bring a valid hunting license or purchase a valid California hunting license and pig tag. They need to bring their own firearm. As far as sleeping, they just need to bring a sleeping bag or a bedroll of some sort. We supply the beds and a pillow, and bathroom supplies, toothbrush, toothpaste, things like that.
Okay, let's go ahead and give out a website and a phone number so people can find out more.
Our phone number is area code 888-598-6231. That's my personal cell phone number, and you can call it or text it anytime you want. And then go to rawhidewest.com.
All right, folks, again, the phone number is 530-598-6231. That's 530-598-6231. Or go to the website. It's rawhidewest.com. That's rawhidewest.com for a guided 2-day wild Russian boar hunt with Jim McDonald. Jim, sounds awesome. Thanks for telling us all about it on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I'd like to tell you I just brought down that buck, but I didn't. I missed. And you know why I missed? Because of the scope I've got on my rifle. You see, my friends told me to get a Leupold rifle scope. Why? Well, because Leupold is America's optical authority. They make a huge variety of quality scopes for every need, and they make them right here in the Northwest. Unfortunately, I didn't listen. I used the cheap scope that came with this rifle when I bought it. And when it came time to pull the trigger, well, let's just say things were a little blurry. Now, I've got nothing to look forward to except a long, empty-handed walk back home. Next time I come out into the field, there's going to be a Leupold scope on my rifle. And next time, I'm not going to miss.
Leupold rifle scopes. Check out the whole line at leupold.com and look for them at a sporting goods store near you.
We're back with John Cruz on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
It's time for another Max Minute.
Fish on!
From Max Lure Company. This one's coming at you from the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland. We're talking to walleye tournament champion Johnny Candle. He's a pro staffer from Max Lure. Real honor to have you on the show again, Johnny.
Oh, always a pleasure.
Johnny, you get to fish all over North America. And one place I really want to hear about is Fort Peck Reservoir in Montana. I've heard a lot of good things, but don't know a whole lot about it.
Yeah, Fort Peck is a phenomenal fishery, incredible walleye fishery. It's part of the Missouri River system. Very, very large reservoir. I'd hate to guess how many miles of shoreline. And if you want one of those unique fishing experiences where you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, Fort Peck, Montana is in the middle of nowhere. But they grow monster walleyes, and they grow a lot of them, which makes it fun. You can catch a nice meal for dinner, and you can go out there and have a chance at a 10 or 12 or 13-pound fish. It's just an incredible place.
How do you like to fish Fort Peck Reservoir?
Well, Fort Peck is king of the bottom bouncer and spinner. It's a great way to cover a lot of water, but yet it's very precise, helps you stay right down on the bottom. And if you find a nice, tight school of fish, you can turn around quickly and stay on that school of fish. And behind that bottom bouncer, I love to pull that Max Smile blade. It's almost impossible to not catch a fish if you have a Max Smile blade on. The slow death rig with the Max Smile blade in front, the half a night crawler, really helps out on those tough days when the fish aren't looking for that great big meal. They don't want that whole night crawler. You pinch that crawler in half, put it on a slow death hook, drag it in front of them, and they just can't say no.
There you go, folks. Some great advice from Johnny Candle, one of the best in the business. That wraps up another Max Minute. But if you want to find out more about Johnny Candle, go to his website at johnnycandle.com, and don't forget to visit maxlure.com as well. Johnny, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'm Bob Loomis, and I fish for walleye. Sometimes when I'm out on the water, I feel like a destroyer captain hunting for targets with my electronics. I'm not hunting submarines, though. I'm hunting fish, and when I find that big one on the fish finder, I want to make sure she's going to bite. That's where the Smile Blade Slow Death Rig from Max Lure comes in. The Smile Blade spins and flashes at ultra-slow speeds, and the one-of-a-kind red hook keeps that bait moving in a way the fish can't resist. It's the Smile Blade Slow Death Rig. You're the destroyer. This is your depth charge. Only from Max Lure.
Are you ready for some real adventure? Then wake up to winter in Wallowa County. Grab your camera, put on your snowshoes, and take a professionally guided hike into the quiet solitude and breathtakingly rugged beauty of the Eagle Cap Wilderness. Or sleep under the stars and test your mettle with some winter camping and ice fishing for kokanee and trout at Wallowa Lake. Or bring your snowmobile to Salt Creek Summit and explore Wallowa County on 150 miles of Northeast Oregon's best trails. Your outdoor winter adventure begins at www.wallowacountychambers.com.
The Bighorn Outdoor Adventure Show is celebrating 55 years of making life better outside. Life is an adventure, and it's better outdoors. It's fun for the whole family at the Spokane Fair and Expo Center, March 19th through the 22nd. With over 250 vendors, guides, and outfitters, there's so much to see and do, you won't want to miss it. There are even giveaways each day from Sportsman's Warehouse, Dave Smith, and the Elephant Boys. Visit bighornshow.com for more information.
Pheasants Forever is working hard every day to ensure there's more wildlife habitat for the future. Join the Habitat Leader and help create wildlife habitat in your community. Go to pheasantsforever.org. macslurecampany.org.
He said we're right on him. Without missing a beat, you'll drop your line down to 42 feet. If you don't screw up, it won't be long. Someone in this boat's gonna sing Fish On. Fish on, fish on. Do it by the book, don't take too long. Set the hook, reel it in strong. Fish on, fish on.
Our next field report's coming at you from the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland. We're talking to guide Bruce Warren, the owner of Fishing for Fun Guide Service. He spends a lot of time fishing the Columbia River and its tributaries in southwest Washington and along the Oregon border. Understand that you are kind of excited about a new lure that you're going to be using for both Chinook fishing and steelhead fishing this year.
You bet, John. We've got the new Max Lures shrimp rig out. Absolutely incredible, and it's about time a manufacturer has figured out what we need in a particular fishery.
So let's go ahead and break this down by species. And I guess we'll start off with the Chinook because the spring Chinook are coming. Now, it says it's a smile blade shrimp rig. And, folks, basically you have a smile blade. You've got 20-pound leader. You got a couple beads, a pill float, and then you have a single hook or a treble hook, your choice. If you're fishing the Columbia, there's going to be a single hook, and you're going to have to pinch it down. But given all of that, how are we fishing a shrimp rig for spring Chinook?
Well, John, it's real easy. Typically you're going to go out and you're going to be on the hook or on your anchor, and you're going to be looking for a particular running spot where these fish will come in. If you're off of 2 or 3 feet one way or another, the next boat to you is going to catch a fish. You're not. So your ideal position, and then once you find your ideal position, you can put these out, and they're really easy to do. So what we're going to do with this is we got our smile blade. You've already talked about that, and or you're either treble hook or your single hook. So we have to use a lot of the single hooks, and of course we got to pinch the barbs down in the tributaries of the Columbia and the Columbia River. So in the Cowlitz, where I do a lot of my spring Chinook fishing, these are going to be great either behind a diver or even a dropper with lead on it. What I'll typically do, though, so I can stay mobile, is I will put them behind a diver, either the Brad's diver or the Jet diver or something of that nature. They have a 6-foot leader on them with 20-pound test, so you don't have to re-rig. Put your favorite bait on there. Of course, mine's going to be a great, nice wad of eggs, and you can slowly back down this through any hole that you're going to fish any other way you want to. Also a great deal is that you can combine this. So you're going to use one rod with the shrimp rig on it with eggs. You can use another rod with a shrimp on it, like a sand shrimp, or even a coon shrimp. You never know what you're going to pick up.
So, question for you here, because, when I think especially of coon shrimp, I'm thinking more steelhead than salmon. I mean, are you actually going to get Chinook on this, or when we're talking the Cowlitz, are we talking a time of year where you can get into either steelhead or Chinook?
You're going to get either steelhead or Chinook. And coon shrimp, I'm not going to tell too many people this, but now that's going out on the radio, you'd be surprised how many spring Chinook will pick up a coon shrimp. It's usually a little bit smaller than a big full-size sand shrimp. It's got the flavor, it's got the scent, and it's got the color. Don't overrule coon shrimp for your spring Chinook.
All right, this is really good to know. So let's talk about a couple of other things here, too, not just Max Lure related, even though you are a pro guide for Max. Let's talk about the line you like to use when you're fishing this. Now, you got obviously the 20-pound leader, and you're going to tie that off to a swivel. And then what kind of main line do you like? Are you using braid or are you using mono? Tell me.
Well, I'm also on Izerline's Pro staff. Absolutely love their products. It's a great line and really inexpensive line compared to some of the other stuff that's out there. But my favorite, I'm a braid guy, and I love it. So we're going to tie this off on a steelhead type rod, 8.5 or maybe from 7.5 to about 8.5 feet plug, and you're going to put that rod in the rod holder. So we're going to tie that off with about a 30-pound braid. Now you can go a little lighter or you can go a little heavier, however you like it. But 30 is just about ideal. Again, to your swivel. And on that swivel, you're going to tie your leader on there. Again, 6-foot leader on these. Put your coon shrimp, your fresh beta eggs on there. And if you got 2 or 3 rods in the boat, mix it up. As soon as you mix it up, one will start going off. That's when you switch everything to that particular bait of the day.
Now you've got another way to catch some of those Chinook, and there's a whole bunch of them coming up the Columbia River and all those tributaries. So, again, it's the Smile Blade Shrimp Rig from Max Lure Company. Also, consider picking up some Izerline, the braided Izerline, because Bruce is right. It does run quite a bit less expensive than other brands, but the quality is just as good. And one other thing I need to talk about, your favorite rod.
We've made the big switch here lately, and we have gone with G. Loomis rods. We are completely outfitted, and just about every rod on the boat's brand spanking new. So guys, come on out, play with what the new product is out for G. Loomis. And we've got them from, like I said, 6 foot all the way up to 10.5 foot for trolling from anything and everything.
If you were to recommend one salmon rod, let's say a guy's considering an upgrade, and folks, G. Loomis generally is considered an upgrade. What is the one rod you'd recommend if people were going to try this technique?
Well, first of all, you got to look at length and technique-specific rods. If you're going to buy one rod, you're going to have a generalized rod, and they have some great ones over there. The GL2, the 1021, it's an 8.5-foot rod. It's a two-piece rod, and it's designed for plugs, but it also pulls divers really well, and you can also cast and drift fish that rod. And it's not a terribly expensive rod. Retail price on that is for $265, and I know that you can find something a little cheaper than that. It's a great rod for all-around use. That's what I'm running with my steelhead and these Max shrimp rigs.
Well, there you go, folks. If you didn't know how to catch spring Chinook before, well, we've certainly given you a way to do it now. We've got everything from the lure to the line to the rod. If you want to find out more about fishing for spring Chinook and other fish as well in the Columbia and on some of the tributaries like the Cowlitz, go ahead and give Bruce a call. His website is fishingforfunguideservice.com. Again, fishingforfunguideservice.com. And Bruce, let's give out a phone number a couple times too.
You bet, John. 253-208-7433. Give me a call anytime. If I don't answer it, I will call you back right away. Again, that's 253-208-7433. Love to hear from you guys.
And the website again, fishingforfunguideservice.com. Thanks for the breakdown. We appreciate it.
Not a problem, John. Glad to be doing it. And anytime you need some help, scream and yell.
Up next on Northwestern Outdoors Radio, we're talking to Rick Leach, very well-known taxidermist out of Oregon State, who, by the way, is heading up a great event called the First Annual Fishing for a Cure for Parkinson's. It's taking place Saturday, April 25th in the Clackamas River. So if somebody gets involved in this, or maybe prior to that, catches the fish of a lifetime, catches a big Chinook, a big steelhead, a big walleye, whatever big fish they've caught, they want it mounted. What do they need to do to make your job easier and not ruin that mount?
Well, we first of all recommend or we promote catch and release. And that, in that case, you can take measurements and a picture of your fish, turn it loose, give me that information, and I can do a duplicate in fiberglass. And most of the time people think that the fiberglass fish is the real fish.
I know I would. So let's go ahead and move past that, though. We both know there's people that are going to want to keep that fish.
Yes, if it's a fish that you fish of a lifetime that you want to keep the actual fish skin, what you want to do is don't let it dehydrate. Wrap it in wet towels. If you can't bring it into the taxidermist immediately, freeze it in a plastic bag, and that will keep it in good shape. And it's always helpful to have some good pictures right after the fish comes out of the water.
All right, folks, there you go. Some really good advice on preserving that trophy or catching and releasing that trophy, which is probably an even better idea, and still ending up with a mount that's going to be on your wall, and you're going to remember that fish for a lifetime. You can find out more by contacting Rick Leach at trophymounter@aol.com. That's trophymounter@aol.com. He can take care of your taxidermy needs. He'll also be happy to tell you more about the first annual Fishing for a Cure for Parkinson's event taking place Saturday, April 25th in the Clackamas River. There's going to be a fishing derby. There's going to be a banquet. There's going to be awards. We're looking for both guides and also looking for participants who want to pay $200 for a day of guided fishing and a chance to win a beautiful Chinook mount that is made by Rick Leach. Rick, thanks for telling us all about it on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
Okay, thank you.
Fish on. Oh, hit him again. He's still kind of squirmy. Somebody call my taxidermy. Fish on.
From the Columbia River to Puget Sound, the Coastal Conservation Association in the Pacific Northwest works to conserve the fish we love. To find out more, go to ccapnw.org.
Shiloh Inn's Affordable Excellence. Welcome to Shiloh Inn's 4-star accommodations at 2-star affordable prices. I'm Mark Hemstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. I personally invite you to enjoy Shiloh Inn's deluxe smoke-free suites, then relax and enjoy our spacious pools and spas with steam and sauna rooms and fully equipped fitness centers. And Shiloh's 4-star treatment is even more affordable with more free amenities than most other hotel chains, like free high-speed internet to a free continental delicious breakfast or full hot breakfast at most Shiloh Inns. Even the kids stay free. And smoke-free Shiloh Inns are all dog-friendly. That's what we mean by 4-star accommodations at 2-star affordable prices. For reservations, call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohins.com. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence. American family-owned and proud of it.
Welcome back to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. It's time again for news and reports from the field, brought to you every week by Mardon Resort at Potholes Reservoir. And that is where the walleye fishing continues to be hot. Folks that are basically trolling worms behind spinner harnesses and blade baiting are catching lots and lots of walleye near Medicare Beach, though most of them are under 20 inches. A lot of them in the 12 to 14 inch range, but tasty eating. If you want the bigger walleye, head up towards Crab Creek. They're catching them up to 28 inches, and even if you don't have a boat, you can have success. Local angler Chris Herrera was fishing off the face of O'Sullivan Dam at the south end of the reservoir, caught a walleye that weighed over 13 pounds. That's right, the walleye fishing is great. It's at Potholes Reservoir, and that's where Mardon Resort is. Find out more at mardonresort.com. mardonresort.com, where the fish bite, but we don't. Up next on Northwestern Outdoors Radio, we've got a product review for you, coming at you from the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland. If you are out in the woods and you're in a bad way, you might find yourself in a survival situation. If that's true, you're going to want this tool. It's called the Strike Master Survival Tool. It provides fire, it provides signaling capability, and it provides light as well. With us here to tell us more about it is Charles Houchins. Charles, what is it? Describe it for our listeners, and then show us how it works.
It's a fire starter, signal light. It's got a man-made flint called ferrocerium that you can scrape with a hardened tool steel scraper that comes with it. It throws out a spark about twice the heat of a match. Then the other side, it's mounted to a rod of magnesium. You can shave off shavings of magnesium and then ignite that with the spark from the flint. And then magnesium burns over 5,000 degrees. So even in your damp conditions, it'll go. You can scrape the spark, and it throws out a circle of light that you can light your way at night. You don't have to worry about batteries going dead for emergency light, or the signal can see for over 3 miles at night. The wood handle gives you the option of dry tinder that you can shave from the handle and then light with just a spark.
So let's go ahead and demonstrate this for us, and I guess we better start with some tinder, right?
You bet. Yeah, you can turn it over and shave wood shavings from the handle, and then shave it into a pile about the size of a dime or quarter. Set the tip of the flint right into it, and then shoot those hot sparks right in there.
Oh, wow, and it lights right up. That is slick. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and use magnesium. And why is magnesium such a crucial material here?
It's crucial because it burns in just about any conditions. Even in damp conditions, it'll actually burn a little bit hotter. It takes the oxygen out of the water and accelerates the burning. So it gives you more heat when things are damp. Ignite that with the spark after you shave a quarter-size pile. Over 5,000 degrees of heat, over white hot.
And really bright, too. That's where the signal part comes in, right?
Actually, the spark alone is seen for over 3 miles at night. So that helps signal at night.
So by definition, since you're literally shaving off parts of the tool every time you use it, this is, I guess, over the long term, a disposable tool. How long does it last?
Smaller ones, still a couple hundred magnesium fires, about 7,000 scrapes from the flint. So quite a while, probably several years of frequent use.
And what's the price point?
$12, 2 for $20.
Well, you know, $12 to have something like this in your backpack or your day pack or fanny pack that can literally save your life is a very inexpensive price. Where can people find this?
They can at our website, which is survivalfire.com.
There you go, survivalfire.com for the Strike Master Survival Tool. Very clever device. You got to check this out, survivalfire.com. I think you're going to want one when you see one. Thanks for telling us all about it on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
All right, thank you very much.
Next up on Northwestern Outdoors, we're still broadcasting from the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, and I'm talking to Elise Barnes. She's with Mountain House out of Albany, Oregon. Mountain House, that's right. They're the folks that made that freeze-dried food you might have carried in your backpack like I did when I was a Boy Scout, or maybe you carry now as a long-range backpacker. Elise, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Well, Elise, you just fed me a sample of this chili mac, and I got to tell you, to use the old phrase from the Winston cigarette commercials, you've come a long ways, baby. This food is a lot better than what I had as a Boy Scout.
Yeah, you know, we're a 50-year-old company, but we're always developing and refining our process so that the food today is not the same necessarily in flavor and texture as it was back when you were a Boy Scout. So it's good to give it another try if you aren't sure about it.
Folks, it's completely different. This tastes like anything you would buy on a store shelf and you would take home, make for dinner. So you were kind enough to give me that, and now I'm going to eat, what's this, chicken teriyaki?
Yep, chicken teriyaki with rice and vegetables.
All right, live eating on the radio, folks. Hold on. Folks, this is good. This is also very, very tasty and not what I expected at all. It's really sweet.
Yeah, the teriyaki definitely has that sweet taste to it, so it gives you a completely different experience than the chili mac, which is a little bit more of a spicy chili. But yeah, we have a complete line of breakfast, lunch, entrees, and even desserts. We have 2 desserts that you warm up and then also freeze-dried ice cream.
Oh, I do remember that, and that's been good for a long time. Yeah. But basically, though, for the other food, one thing that hasn't changed is basically you just add water, hot water preferred, and then serve.
Exactly. Freeze-drying is kind of interesting because people don't understand. You're not adding anything to preserve it. You're just removing all the water through a process. So when you rehydrate it with the hot water, it rehydrates. The hotter the water, the faster the rehydration rate. And so you're just adding water right back into the pouch. We developed the pouch so that you could do that and not have to have cleanup other than packing the pouch out.
Exactly. And that's perfect. So the pouches, they look like what? They serve 2?
2.5. USDA says 2.5, but it's 20 ounces. So most adult men will eat that in one serving, especially if you're really hungry and out backpacking or hunting. And then we have the number 10 cans, which are for long-term food storage, and those are 10 one-cup servings.
Okay, and that's new. I have actually not seen that before. I'm used to seeing those pouches in stores all over the place, but I've never seen basically the coffee cans full of food. So again, that's like emergency survival food or something you would have in the basement if the power goes out, if there's a storm or something like that. What's the shelf life?
Shelf life on the can, it's the same food inside, but the can, because it's a more rigid, durable package, it's 30 plus years.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. And does the food taste the same as what it does in the pouch?
Yep, it's the same. It's the same food, so it's the same cook. The whole process is all the same. It's just some goes into the pouches, some goes into the cans. Because really, your food is under 3% moisture, so the food, it doesn't change in the can or the pouch. It's just that the pouch is not as durable as the can. So that's why we are able to guarantee a proven shelf life of 30 years.
Well, there you go, folks. You learn something new every day on this show. Again, that's Mountain House. It's made right here in the Northwest in Albany, Oregon. They've been around for 50 years, and the food keeps getting better and better, and so does their product line, too. Where can people find Mountain House?
Really, any outdoor major sporting goods store. Bi-Mart carries it. That's who I'm here with today. And online. You can find us anywhere, really.
There you go. You can find out more by Googling just Mountain House freeze-dried food or Oregon freeze-dry. You're going to find a lot of stuff there, including places where you can find this product. And check out all the great food they had, or just go into your local sporting goods store or to Bi-Mart. You're going to see it there, too. And go ahead and pick some up. Take it home for dinner. It isn't just for backpacking anymore. Elise, thanks for telling us all about it, and thanks for feeding me, too, on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The 2-burner camp stove has evolved, and today's line of portable camp stoves from Camp Chef have come a long way from your father's propane stove, featuring matchless ignition, more cooking power, and in some cases a built-in grill or extra burner. And you've got what you need to whip up some great grub in the field. Look for the complete line of Mountain Series stoves at your local sporting goods store or online at campchef.com. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
Leupold has been building optics in Oregon since 1907, and Leupold binoculars bring excellent optical performance and modern styling to the serious outdoorsman. Whether you're a boater, birder, backpacker, or hunter, Leupold's state-of-the-art binocular lines are sure to fit your needs. Visit Leupold.com or your local Cabela's, Bi-Mart, or Sportsman's Warehouse to see the full line of Leupold optics.
We're back with one last cast from John Cruz on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
Next on Northwestern Outdoors Radio, we're talking to Joe Brennan, who's just starting to recover from the very, very well-attended Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, Oregon. But, Joe, there's no rest for the weary. You've got another show coming up soon in Redmond, Oregon, don't you?
Yes, we do, John. It's March 5th through the 8th, coming up here in Redmond, Oregon.
It's the Central Oregon Sportsman Show. I've been to this one myself. It's at the Deschutes County Fairgrounds and Expo Center, and it's a really neat show. If you live anywhere in Central or Eastern Oregon, or maybe even up in South Central Washington, it's worth the drive. And I'll tell you what, one of the things I love about this show is that it's like the first RV show of the season. And man, you bring all sorts of RVs to this show, don't you?
Well, we do. There's 3 dealers down in that Bend and Redmond area, John, that really represent in this show. They come fully loaded. They bring a lot of units to the show that most people can find for their needs.
And in addition to, folks, acres and acres of RVs you're going to find at this show, you've got a really good selection of boats, too. This is also a boat show, too, isn't it?
Well, we call it the Central Oregon Sportsman Show and Boat and RV Show. That's the title of the event. So as well as being the first RV show, we also consider it being the first boat show. The local dealers are able to come and bring their lines and represent the new boat features on some of the new lines and of course, all the boating accessories that go with it.
Now, something else that occurs at this show, just like all of your other shows, is you have hundreds of exhibitors there, lots of guides and outfitters that'll take care of your needs, not just in the Central Oregon area, but all over the Northwest. In addition to that, I know you've got that free trout pond that the kids just love, don't you?
Oh, yeah, that's the hallmark feature of our shows. That goes to every sportsman show that we do. It's a free kids trout pond, 12 and under, catch and release, all gear provided. That's a great feature that's always, well received by the families. Something that was a big hit at your last 2 shows, and I'm hoping it's going to be here again at this one, the camp cooking tent. I know you had Tiffany Haugen there, you've had C. Welch. Who's going to be there at the camp cooking tent if you're having one at the Central Oregon show? Oh, yeah, the camp cooking seminars will be presented by Fred Meyer again. And this year, Herb Good will be back. Tiffany and Scott Haugen will be doing seminars. I have the Central Oregon Dutch Oven Society conducting Dutch oven seminars. And then we have a newcomer this year, a guy named Roger Neufeld. He is going to be doing some sausage-making seminars. Oh, fantastic. And one more thing I've got to ask about. I remember when I attended, there was a whole bunch of, dock dog things going on there. Are you having something involving dogs again this year? Yes, we are. The last 2 years and again this year, the event is called the Extreme Air Dogs, and they use this event as one of their challenges. So this is an event where people can come and bring their dogs, and they can run on a platform and dive into their tank of water for distance. Very well attended, great attraction. People love to sit and watch that. Oh, I'm one of them. I got a real kick out of seeing this before. And folks, if you go there, you're going to love watching these dogs literally fly through the air at distances you won't believe. At least the good ones are going to do that. What else do we need to know about this show that's taking place March 5th through the 8th at the Deschutes County Fairgrounds in Redmond? Well, again, you mentioned some of our features. Again, we have the hunting and fishing theaters. There's a marine theater that has seminars as well. There's our freshwater demo tank that has seminars being conducted on it as well as the fly tying and fly casting ponds. And then, just like you mentioned, there's lots and lots of hundreds of exhibitors from around the Northwest, Canada, and even some different parts of the world that are here to exhibit and hopefully do some business at this show. So lots of local businesses as well. I think I need to emphasize that the support of the local community has been stronger than ever, and they're going to be out in force as well. Well, there you go, folks. It's the Central Oregon Sportsman Show. Again, it's taking place March 5th through the 8th. That's Thursday through Sunday at the Deschutes County Fairgrounds and Expo Center in Redmond, Oregon. The O'Loughlin's put on some great shows, and this is another one, so don't miss it. Joe, thanks as always for telling us all about it on Northwestern Outdoors Radio. Oh, you're welcome, John. And by the way, I forgot to mention our Heads and Horns competition. Oh, absolutely. Bring them with and go ahead and get yours scored. Thanks again, Joe. Yeah. All right, take care now. Another show to tell you about is the Great Rockies Show, taking place at the Lewis and Clark Fairgrounds in Helena this weekend through Sunday. Likewise,
don't forget about the Bighorn Outdoor Adventure Show coming up March 19th through the 22nd at the Interstate Fairgrounds in Spokane. One of my favorite shows. We'll be there at that one too, so come visit us. If you get a chance, go to our Facebook page at Northwestern Outdoors Radio. Likewise, we've got a website too. That's northwesternoutdoors.com. Last but not least, check us out on the internet. That's right, we're on an internet radio station, WRVO Radio. You'll find it at RenoViolaOutdoors.com. We are part of a 30-plus outdoors program lineup that airs 7 days a week. It's RenoViolaOutdoors.com. There's a lot going on outside and a lot of sportsman show fun to be had, too. So until next time, take care, God bless, and make it a point to spend some time outdoors.